The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Is, and this question is for the Prime Minister, that the carbon tax chaos is unfolding within the Liberal tent itself. We saw last week, just as I was about to hold a thunderous rally of 1,000 common-sense Nova Scotians to axe the tax, the Prime Minister was in a sweaty ball on the ground. He had to flip-flop and hold a hastily called and humiliating press conference. Now, Mark Carney has come out against his flip-flop, and Percy Downe, a loyal Liberal senator, has called for the Prime Minister to resign because of his fiscal irresponsibility. Is that why he's hiding under his desk and refusing to answer questions today?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Other than trying to find ways to do indirectly what he is not actually allowed to do directly, the one thing that is consistent about the Leader of the Opposition is that he loves to pat himself on the back continuously. At the end of the day, what we are interested in on this side of the House is good public policy. We have put into place a plan that will assure affordability for Canadians, that applies across the country, that does so in a manner that actually addresses the reality of climate change. Once again, it is appalling and a shame that the Conservative Party does not believe in climate change, has no plan to do anything about it.
Exactly.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
This Liberal senator, Mr. Percy Downe, wrote, and I quote, "The opportunity for a Conservative government has been created by a lack of fiscal responsibility by the Liberal government, and the damage it has caused our economy is now showing up in the opinion polls. Within the Liberal Party, many members who are in favour of fiscal responsibility have given up on this current iteration of the Liberal Party, and hence the leader should resign." Yet he won't stand and answer questions, even though his itinerary shows that he was in this building today. Wow. If he won't show up and do his job, why won't he get out of the way? Because I will. Yeah.
Over the last 2 weeks, many members have taken it upon themselves to quote my statement back to me, and I'm quite happy to defend that statement. As your chair, again, I will say that it is important for us to recognize that all members have duties, all members of this House, regardless of which side you have, which sometimes takes them out of this chamber to do their duties. That's the reason. That is the reason why. That is the reason why that we try not to mention whether or not the member is present or not in the House. It's part of the duties. So we are going to continue on. I believe there is the Honourable House Leader is going to answer this question.
Mr. Speaker, I find the last thing that the Honourable Leader of the Opposition said particularly troubling, because it is Canadians who decide who sit in this House and not the Leader of the Opposition. But, Mr. Speaker, let me be very clear that it's troubling, but it's not surprising, because when he was the Minister of Democratic Reform, Mr. Speaker, he made it harder for 150,000 of Canada's most vulnerable citizens to vote. He was also sanctioned by Elections Canada for violating electoral law. While what he's saying is completely inappropriate, it is unsurprising given his track record and his lack of respect for democracy. Thank you.
Again, colleagues, it is so important. Colleagues, sit down. Hello.
Order.
Colleagues, it is important, once again, to not call in.
Sit down, Speaker, it up.
Could I ask the member, please, from Surrey, to please allow me to continue. Colleagues, I ask I ask all members to please exercise discretion. These are the things which you all raised with me and others in terms of improving the discretion. So I'm going to ask the Honourable Leader of the colleagues.
He should be sitting down.
May I ask all colleagues, excuse me, colleagues, temperatures are running hot. Temperatures are running hot today. If I could ask all members, please, to sit down. May I ask all members to respectfully sit down, please?
All members.
May I ask all members to respectfully sit down until I recognize them to speak? Please. Colleagues. The honourable member of the honourable leader of the opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I can understand as these Liberal members watch their Prime Minister in a panicked huddle in the fetal position, shaking and trembling, that they are losing control of themselves. The last few days of carbon tax chaos has been very hard on them, and now their leader is defending them. The minister says we should let Canadians decide. So why don't we pause the carbon tax on all home heat until the vote, when Canadians will decide whether they want the Prime Minister's plan to hike the tax 61 cents a litre, or my common sense plan to axe the tax for everyone forever.
The Honourable Minister.
Things, Mr. Speaker, that we as Liberals are united on. We are united on the fact that the leader of the opposition is trying to destroy the action that our government is taking on climate change, not only our government, but governments across the world that are finally turning the tide, because he wants to go back to the time when they were attacking climate action. Mr. Speaker, we're united in the fact that we led the G7 in 2020 and 2022 in growth, that we're going to be number one again in 2024, that 64,000 jobs were created in Canada. Which country would he change places with? When he denigrates Canada, what country does he think better? Because this is the greatest country in the world, and we will stand up for it, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, we have someone now auditioning for the job of Prime Minister. There we go. And the cat's away. The mice will play, but we don't need any more of this chaos. The NDP would actually do its job and hold this government to account. They would announce today they would vote in accordance with the views of the NDP in BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and now Manitoba, all of whom agree that people in cold climates, whether it be in Timmins or Kapuskasing or Churchill, should enjoy tax-free heat. So will they vote to keep the heat on by taking the tax off, or will they once again serve this out-of-touch Prime Minister?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I've said a number of times, and perhaps the Honourable Leader of the Opposition has not heard me, the home heating oil is up to 4 times as expensive as natural gas. It creates challenges with respect to affordability for Canadians. We have come forward with a plan that applies in every province and territory in this country that will address that particular issue in a manner that will be affordable, that will ensure long-term savings for families, but will do so in a manner that continues the fight against climate change, a fight against climate change that would not happen if he was in the other side of the House.